That was all me, man.
Oh, I was just gonna say it was a minor hiccup, but you were messing with something. That's right.
Yeah, it was me. That was totally me.
I see.
All right. Well,
welcome to the podcast. Friday Fun Day once again. How are you doing today, Mr. Kaufman?
doing excellent day. I don't know, man. With this heat, this heat that we've had has been bananas. It's been crazy.
Been pretty solidly oppressive. Yes.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Couldn't wait for summer to get here, and now I'm just like, I'm a weekend basically a week into the summer, and I'm ready to be done with this stuff. It is so hot. But anyway, how about you?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Actually, I think it's supposed to be a little cooler today. I think maybe a little rain coming through or something. So then I can watch the rain come up over on my and flood the road in front of me here. So that'll be fun and exciting. That's a whole separate issue. So yeah, it's good. It's a good time. But, it's like
it's been a strange year, man. It's been a really strange year because
it's been interesting. It's been well, and we're here at the end of June. It's like, where the hell has the first 6 months of 2025 gone? I don't know. Like, just gone.
I hear you.
Gone, brother. It's just gone.
Yep. It's this insane schedule we've been keeping here for the past few months. I think that at least me personally, I don't know. I've talked about it before, but I think I've got to get back on my I got to get back to telling people no. That's what I got to do. I know it's my fault. I've taken on too much, and I've told too many people that I've agreed to either help people, complete their, do their stuff, and it's just my fault. It's totally my fault. Just got to get back to just telling people no.
Yep, got to focus on the revenue generating tasks and activities.
That's right.
Yeah,
that is correct.
Like the podcast, right? Like, hopefully the podcast, the reason we do the podcast is, well, we kind of like it, but hopefully, like, it's information for others that will hopefully come to our website and purchase products. So that's
yep.
So that's good. So what is on the agenda today for our podcast, Mr. Kaufman?
Okay, so we are going to talk. Well, I'll just throw this out there. I don't know how this was for you when you got into this business, but for me, I jumped in. I hired a mentor, and I had a job at the time, so I knew that I was kind of just testing the waters. Really, I had committed to this business, but I was really apprehensive about getting into it. And then I quickly realized, I'm going to need a way to make some money here. Like, I spent all this money on these coaches, on this coach and this mentor, and now he didn't. This is one of the reasons I chose him. He did not promise this to me, but I saw a lot of other gurus out there that were promising this. They were promising fast riches, quick, get rich quick, and all this good stuff. And I'm really glad I went with the coach that I went with, because he didn't push that type of thinking. He pushed, really, because he was a true investor, and he understood that investments are not, generally speaking, they don't turn around very quickly. It takes a while. It takes some buildup and some persistence and all that good stuff before you actually start making money. So I thought what we talk about today is answering the question about how long does it really take to start earning money in real estate investing.
How long does it really take? That's a good question, because even if you, going back to what you first said, is like, and so I was just thinking back, what were the promises? Like, what was that guarantee that hooked me into this? Because I did, as my first kind of guru, like real estate guru stuff. It was Rich Dad Education, the real estate side of it. And thinking back to, like, they did not promise that. In fact, I was thinking, I was in one of the classes, it was the foreclosure class actually, and I was thinking, well, shit, this is going to take some time and effort. This is not going to get me. I'm not going to be closed and flip the property around in 30 days and have a $50,000 check. That's not how this is working. I remember thinking that in that class. So, yeah. So what you're saying is we need to have realistic expectations.
That's right.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I got some back here. What do we have?
What's going on?
There we go. I don't know. I had some feedback coming by. Is that better?
You sounded fine to me.
Oh, okay.
Before, right. I think it was just you.
Technical difficulties too. So what you're really saying today is we're going to set realistic expectations to make some money in real estate. Like, how long does it take for me? And if I'm working a 9-to-5 job, these are like, when can maybe I get out of that job, right? Which is really the kind of the $1 million question, right?
Yeah, I do hear that feedback now. It's like your speakers are really loud, feeding back into your microphone. What if you have a noise cancellation thing set?
I do. It should be on. Let me.
Audio, noise cancellation set here on mine. But
yeah, I don't know, just weird.
All right, I'll try and not scream so loud. How about that? What was the question? Where were we going with this?
It's all good. Well, so if anybody, well, I guess here's like our reality check number one. If any real estate guru is telling you you're gonna, I don't know, maybe it's a dollar amount, that you're gonna make $50,000 in 30 days in real estate, you should find a different guru.
Yeah, and they're now the 30 days. The 30 days thing is that's pretty quick, but it really just depends upon the activity that you're doing. Like, what are you flipping houses? Are you certainly buy and hold is going to be a long-term type of thing where, it's going to be, it could potentially be years if that's what you're going to, if that's the path that you're going to take is you're going to be a buy and hold investor, meaning you're going to have rental properties or seller finance, you seller finance properties, which, by the way, I would say is one of the benefits to seller finance, because, if even though it's not a get rich quick thing, you can get paid relatively quickly in the seller finance model because you're taking down payments. So rentals, not so much. Rentals are going to take it's a slow burn with rentals. You're just going to have to kind of stay the course, and it just takes a while. It takes a long time. So I thought what we do is just kind of jump into first of all, talking a little bit more about each one of those little niches. Whether it's buy and hold or you're flipping properties. But I really want to get into what are some ways that you can actually make money while you're kind of getting into the real estate investing business. And so because I'll tell you, you can definitely, if you go head first into this thing, it can definitely burn you, just like any business, really. So I thought we'd just jump right into kind of.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Can we pause just for a second there? I just want to make a point that you kind of alluded to here, but I just want to make a really clear point. So let's say that you're working your 9-to-5 job. You want to get into real estate because you ultimately want to get out of your job. Like, you want to establish wealth, generational wealth, or whatever, that make extra cash flow, whatever it is. Make a plan.
Yeah.
What's your business plan? What are you going to do? Because you just said, like, you want to buy and hold rentals? You want to buy and hold seller finance creative notes? Do you want to flip properties? Like, what do you want to do? Like, what's your business model, right? And then what is your plan to establish that? Or do you want, like, for instance, okay, I'm going to buy and hold and I'm just going to do I'm going to be a landlord and I'm going to do rentals. Great. Are you going to add one rental property a month? Are you going to do one every, like, what's the goal? What's your plan to do that? and then we can stair step that out to when will it be time where you can give up your 9 to 5 job, right? When you're replacing your W-2 income. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that, like, you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan, right?
Yeah.
So
Regardless of whether you are working a job or if you are, maybe you own some other business and you want to maybe real estate is your side hustle, you know. Um, but yeah, having a plan for where you want to be, because I'll tell you, when I got started, I didn't really have what my plan was? My plan was to just get out of my job. That was my plan. I had nothing beyond that. Like I would literally scrape and crawl just to get out of that job. So it's not like I chose real estate. Like that was my preferred avenue to do it. It was just one of those things is like, I got to find something to get me out of this job. And so, it just so happened this popped up and it turned out I loved it. But if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be doing it, but I say love it. I don't really love it, but I like it a lot. It's exciting.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. It's not your passion, and I wouldn't say it's mine either. Like your passion. Enjoy it, yes.
Yeah.
Like love everything about it, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way anything is.
It's a tool. Really. It's a vehicle, and this is an argument I have with so many people. So many people think, I think wrongly, or at their detriment or their expense, a great expense, that they absolutely have to be doing everything that they love. I mean, it's got to be they've got to. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If you can make that work, like if you can get into something that you're super passionate about, then what's the saying? You'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
But I'm kind of like the older. I don't want to say old school, but because I've really only been in business for myself for 10 years. But I just believe that I believe in the tried and true. You identify a problem, you come up with a creative way to fix the problem, and that becomes your business. I think you don't necessarily have to love. I've used this example before, but do you think, factories that make coat hangers, do you think it was their dream to make coat hangers? Like it doesn't have to be a thing. But there does need to be a means to the end. It does have to produce something so that, and then we can get back into like, vision and goals and all that stuff. But that's really, because that's really what it all boils down to is what is your vision for your life, personally for your life, and then just build a business around that. But I just think it's a mistake. I think a lot of people get caught up in the passion side of things, and it becomes just a really expensive hobby,
It's funny you mentioned that too, because I cannot tell you. Sorry, little segue here. So
sorry. We got
bear with me. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on figuring out what my passion, calling, life purpose, blah blah blah, whatever, insert whatever word there is, right? And just saying, okay, well, what do I want to do? Like what? Okay, I know what my strengths are, but how does that translate into like what am I really passionate about? Like I'm 52 this year, still looking, brother. I don't know. I know some things that I like, and I just try to use my strengths in those things to accomplish the goals that I want.
Yeah.
Right. Just like you said, but I have not found what my quote unquote passion is. I don't. Or if I have it, the light bulb sure hasn't gone off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I just think we talk about that. What's that term when you have sunken cost or sunk costs into something? And like I know exactly what my passion is. I'm an outdoorsman. I know if I could quit everything today, I would be outdoors. I would be hiking. I would be hunting. I would just be an outdoors person. But I know that if I made that my business, I would find reasons to dump more money into making that a business proposition. And I would have all of these quote sunk costs into this passion of mine. And again, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't, that's not possible for people, that you shouldn't strive towards that. It's just it's a personal thing. Just for me, I just know I will forego a profits period if I could just have, do this thing I'm passionate about every day. And so unfortunately you can't really live that way. Like you can't pay your bills, and
you have to turn it into a living, right? That's the trick.
Right.
Yeah.
So I stick with the good old fashioned kind of conventional, like I said, find a need, find a creative way to fulfill the need, take it to market, and
get paid.
Yep.
That's really, you solve problems, you get paid.
Yep.
And you can, we just happen to be pretty good at solving real estate problems for people, right? Creatively, right? That's what we do. So, and we get paid. Right?
Yeah. I just learned to, pick this stuff up over the years. And, I've always said admittedly, I'm kind of like if I sit down and read a book, I have to read that book twice. But once I read it twice, because I won't understand it the first time, I just will not. I'm kind of a slow learner that way. But once I grasp something, once I have it, and it's never going to leave me. Like it just never. I have a very good memory once it's finally soaked in. Once it's had a chance to.
to
yeah.
So okay, so let's get back on topic. So our focus today is we want to give you some real tips, applications to make money in real estate, right? More quickly than because I'm going to buy a rehab house, and 7 months later I might get paid from the rehab house with all the work, with 6 months of rehab work in the middle of it, right? So that's not fast money, right? We don't call that fast money. That might get you paid, but it's not going to be fast money. So we're trying to focus here on what are some of those things that you can do inside real estate to get paid quicker while perhaps still learning what area or niche you want to do in real estate.
This is kind of a tough subject to summarize, because it's like, how can you make enough money to support you while you're going through this this transition into your real estate business? So
the first one I think is great. Like we talk about this all the time, Larry. So we're just gonna put it out there, and we're going to go ahead and do shameless plug number one is partner with somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Partner with a successful real estate person on a deal. Right. Learn some stuff. Yeah. Learn some stuff. I mean, again, that may not be totally fast money, but maybe you can do, we'll talk about this too, like transactional things to help the deal to get paid along the way. Right. Yeah. Partner with somebody.
Yeah. You can, there's a number of things you can do. If you have marketing skills, or if you have, like you're saying, like transactional types of thing, like if you're good at organization, if you're good at, like you are for sure, like this is where you kind of fill in the gaps for me, because it's like the systems and the processes that you have are, or that you've developed for yourself. I think it's just how you live your life. Definitely are not my strong suit. So it's great to have someone who compliments you. But if you have, great marketing skills, maybe you're even, maybe you run a construction company, or you have, maybe you do beds and baths, you do bathrooms, you refinish bathrooms or something like that. You can trade your time and your experience for part of the profits later on. You can learn that way. I think it's a great way to go, for sure. And like you said, you gave the shameless plug, but that's what the partner program really, really does. We're not just, I love this saying, we're not just handing you a login, we're in the trenches with you. So,
right. Yep. We get paid. We get paid if you get paid on your deals, right? Too. So, but we don't. We went away. We used to have, and we'll just talk about this now, maybe just for a second too. We used to do a 90-day guarantee where you'll have your first closing within 90 days, which is certainly a very reasonable thing. But we've kind of morphed that into we're going to be there with you to do it. If it takes 90 days, it takes 90 days. If it takes 120 days, it takes 120 days, right? Like, but we have a vested interest in making sure you close your deals because we're going to partner with you on the deal, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. So
Yeah, it's like we don't get paid unless you get paid.
right.
So there's some incentive there. Number two, this is one of the more glaringly obvious ones, and I've had people, we've had students too that that have done this. I highly advise against this. A lot of people. So number two, a lot of people will quit their job well
And
before.
focus. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you're gonna get in this real estate thing, you quit your job. Guess what? You have to make it now. And I guess there can be an argument made for burning those bridges,
Yeah.
diving straight into real estate. I mean, because I do know some people that have been really successful doing that because they were forced to do it.
Right. Can't
However,
fail, right? Failure is not an option because
Yeah.
people are depending on me. So yeah, there's something to be said, but not everybody does that well.
Yeah, I would say the majority of people end up going back to get a job. Honestly, I've known a few that have really done okay. But yeah, so number two is don't quit your day job just yet. That's number two.
Right.
Make sure that, especially if you've got a family, man. Oof, if you've got folks to take care of and they rely on your income.
Keep it coming
Honestly,
in.
and don't feel bad about that either. It's like I know people that I've actually seen people in like these seminars and what have you. I've actually seen them get physically embarrassed that they still have their job. They're trying to compare themselves with everybody else in the room, and you can see it. You can see it in their eyes when they say, no, I still have a job, or they'll talk, kind of monotone. They'll talk down about it. Like, dude, there's nothing wrong with having a job and getting into real estate at all. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
That's what I did for years?
Yeah.
16, 18 years I did that.
yeah,
And one of the things too, so you have to remember, what's your plan? My plan is to diversify incomes,
hmm
right? Real estate being able to give me different types of income actually, but I also have a pension income from all the time that I worked over here on this other side.
hmm
And I was really close to grabbing that pension income, right? When I was looking like when I was ready to I'm not doing this 9 to 5 thing anymore. I'm not doing it. And so I was really very close too. So real estate allowed me to bridge that gap and get out faster. So no, I say that just to say it's okay to be a quote unquote part-time real estate investor. I made more money as a part-time real estate investor than many full-time real estate investors that I saw at all these RIA meetings over many, many years too. Just FYI. So you have to be able to invest wisely, right? Follow the plan.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And my mother told me this when I was really young, and I've never forgotten it. But she would tell me, don't ever make fun of how somebody makes money. And I believe that to be true. Like, I just, whether we want to admit to ourselves or not, making your own money, getting into business for yourself can be very hard. It can be just insanely tough to do, especially if you're new and you've never had a business before. So I like the idea. Let's come up with a plan. It doesn't have to be a fully vetted plan. You just have to have right. You have to have I like to look at it as more of a vision. You got to have a vision for what you want.
To have an idea of what you're doing. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So the next one is like not my favorite. If I'm being honest, this is like my least favorite one on the list because I don't really we badmouth these poor people all the time. I'll say you, Mr. Kaufman, you badmouth these people all the time.
I don't mind them. I just didn't like the business. I was in this business for a while.
If you really want the fastest way to make $5,000, $10,000 in real estate is to truly wholesale it. So you get a property under contract, and basically you're just going to flip the contract, right? You're going to sign the contract away. That's the wholesale model. You can do that. Don't forget though that that doesn't happen by accident either. There's a lot of damn time and money spent on marketing. You can't get a contract on property unless you have a seller lead. Well, how do you get seller lead? You got to market to that. So wholesaling is not without its own cost and time,
Yeah.
right?
And risk, tons of
It
risk.
is the fastest way to maybe get a $5,000 check, though,
Yeah.
right?
You know, that's the thing too, is we have a lot of the wholesale gurus out there that talk about the least riskiest way to invest in real estate. Well, first of all, you're not investing in real estate. You're a wholesaler. Secondly, it is not without risk. It takes a tremendous amount of money and time to build up that pipeline and start pulling those leads in. It is not an easy business. And then once you do have those leads coming in, and say you've built yourself a nice pipeline. Well, now guess what? Now you have to make an attempt at not just answering those phones and following up on those leads, but now since you don't have assets, you cannot scale that business. That's how you scale a business with assets. You don't scale a business by doing more work. That's not what scaling means. So this is why wholesaling it's very hard to scale it. I mean, it's inventory in, inventory out. Like there's nothing that you can hold on to, and you just can't scale that way. So that being said, like you're saying, it can be. I mean, I did pretty well. I did pretty well with wholesaling, but I hated my life.
Yeah,
I hated my life when I was wholesaling.
and as a note too, like if you're working a 9 to 5 job, like wholesaling is probably not really going to work out for you so well. Given the time commitment, you got to follow up right away. So if a seller lead calls you at 9 a.m. while you're sitting in your morning meeting in your 9 to 5 job, and you don't get back to them until 7 p.m. that night, like you probably lost that deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to have some. I mean, could you maybe get some deals? Sure. But you're probably going to get awfully frustrated that like this isn't working out. Yeah, because it's like it's a very time sensitive thing, especially when the leads or the phone starts ringing for you too. So that's one of the reasons why I was like, nah, I'm not doing this wholesaling.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I will say though that just to insert one in here, wholetailing might not be where you actually buy the property, you spruce it up clean, maybe put some paint on the walls, and then you turn around and sell it. I've done that a handful of times within 6 to 8 weeks, right? 10 weeks, something like that too. I mean, that's pretty fast too for real estate. That's pretty fast turnaround too.
Yeah.
So just keep that.
Yeah, I mean what you're describing was my life for the first 4 years in this business. It was I mean, I would get up in the morning. I'd be up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'd be on the road to my job. I'd work until 4:30 in the afternoon, drive home, shovel some vittles down my throat, and then I was in my office until midnight. And I did that for years. I did that for a long time. Probably lost a lot of my what me and my wife call our life cycles. Like I was just burning the candle at both ends. Yeah. It was pretty awful, but it put me in a spot where I was actually able to quit my job. So it was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Means to an end.
Yep.
The next item too is like especially if you're trying to learn different aspects of real estate, this is a good one. Work in a real estate adjacent job.
Yep.
Go to the title company and process files for them, right? Be part of their closing process and figure out how that works. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could be a real estate agent and go work in a real estate office. So that's a whole separate type of job in the real estate industry, though, is being a real estate agent. But you could do that. So you could still learn some things that way, right? Might not get paid awfully fast though, right? Being an actual agent,
right?
But go lending. Right, take in incoming applications or process applications for a lender, something like that. There's all kinds of different things to do there while you're learning different areas, niches, I guess we'll call them, of the real estate industry, and you get paid. Now, you're not going to get paid $10,000 to process a file, but you might get paid hourly, or maybe you get paid $100 a file, or I don't know, right? It's not a lot of money maybe, but it's something coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the most important aspect of that is staying connected to the real estate community, because that's where I was going to say, you could become an appraiser. Well, to become an appraiser takes some time.
Yeah.
It takes some expertise. And so,
or a home inspector, or any of those.
Yeah. Any of those are going to, but if real estate is your, I hate to use the term side hustle, but if you have a long-term vision for your investments and getting a return on those investments, then staying in one of these real estate adjacent positions is just it can only help you. It's just going to expose you to even more actual properties. It's going to expose you to some properties you can buy.
People, connections. Yeah. I think your team, right? So you can start building your team, the
Yep.
slow burn, and you can get the pieces in place to when you want to make a big transition.
I know several people that have done that, for sure. But anyway, all right, let's move on here. We're
Sure.
You're letting me go down rabbit holes, man.
Yeah, well, we've got to, it is. It's our podcast. We can go down rabbit holes if you want. But the next one is drive for dollars and get paid for it.
Yeah.
So we actually had a whole model of driving for dollars. We had a whole system, and people had the stuff on, your information on their cars, and drove around and gave you property leads.
Yeah, this should really say bird dogging. That's what this should
say. Bird dogging, yes. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, real simple. Just one of the easiest things you can do. I mean, this is probably going to be one step down from wholesaling. You're actually providing leads to the wholesalers, and then kind of hoping that they can close on those leads. But it's still a viable way, for sure, to make an extra buck, for sure. I mean, I have pictures of many folks that anytime we'd have to go present a check to one of our driving for dollars folks, one of our bird dogs, take a picture with that check, and plenty of those people got paid, made a lot of extra money. It's a good little way to do it.
Yep. Bird dog. Yeah, you're right. Bird dogging for other investors.
Yeah. Yep. Number 6, we are looking at, we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but if you have any kind of skill in like admin help, if you're good in transactions, again, this would be, I would also consider this kind of a real estate adjacent thing, right?
Because it is.
But transaction coordination, also, you mentioned title companies. Another thing is lead management services.
Yeah.
So essentially, this would be like the follow-up to leads. This would be like, okay, a lead comes in the door, you get assigned this lead. You're going to do all the follow-up. You're going to stay in front of that lead for either a wholesaler or a real estate investor, and you just you're managing that lead from beginning to end. Good little niche to get in and earn some extra dollars.
Yep. And when we just go back, when we say transactions, there's lots of different things to do. Like, for instance, if you want to do buy and holds and you want to get in the subject to, right? There's a lot of paperwork that we suggest you have, right, to do it properly. The sub-2 document package in there, and it's a lot to keep track of. And then you got to make sure the title company's on track too. So having somebody in there, like if you can fill that gap for investors that maybe they got 3 or 4 properties under contract right now, like one's a rehab, one's a buy and hold, like whatever, like coordinating. That's what we mean by coordinating all that, and making sure all the paperwork's done, the title company, everything stays on track to close. It is an easy aspect, especially if you're organized, right? Is an easy way to help other investors out.
Yeah. I know this house we just bought, we just closed on, was that this week or was it last week?
Yeah. This was Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah. Man, I'm losing it.
Yeah.
This house we closed on Tuesday. I didn't, we bought it off a wholesaler, and which was fine, but that wholesaler has grown his business to the point where he needs a transaction coordinator. And I'll tell you, his transaction coordinators were on it. They were very good communicators. Literally, the morning that we closed, I got a text from one of his TCs, and she's asking, how did it go? She just wanted to make sure that it was closed, and that's just good follow up. That's just good practice to do that. And yeah, so it went really smoothly. No problems whatsoever. It was great.
Yep. And the last one is add value to the deals. Like, so we call this being a deal architect or a specialist. In other words, become a creative expert and add that to the deal. So a lot of wholesalers aren't creative experts. Maybe you could team up with a wholesaler and make sure that we're doing these subject to deals properly, right? Yeah. Something along those lines, like add value, and then you can get paid for that.
Brother, I still do this to this day. I'll have somebody call me, or I'll get a referral. I don't advertise for it at all, but there would be, some of the wholesalers I've dealt with that maybe are, maybe they're selling a property to someone, and it's, God forbid they're assigning a subject to deal, but it happens
all the time.
Whenever I see that going on, and they call me, I make sure I step in. If I've got the time to do it, I'll make sure I step in and make sure that it gets done correctly. And I still do that to this day. And I charge $1,000 for every one of those. So, you can't tell me it can't be done. I know it can. Yep. It does require specific knowledge in a lot of cases, but really, to be honest, I might put in, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of work total, and I charge $1,000 for that. So, you could probably if one were an enterprising individual, you could probably make a career just out of doing that.
Yeah.
Really, but
yeah. So what would happen? Just riddle me this, right? One of my favorite things. Riddle me this. What happens if an enterprising person watching this podcast was just to go out, and it's right on the screen right now, get our Sub2 documents package, and then partner with a wholesaler, like you mentioned in there, and your job was to make sure that these subject to deals are done properly. You've got all the paperwork right there at your fingertips that you can bring in and charge $1,000 a pop, and you would have spent $295 up front for the documents package.
What if that were possible?
What if it was?
What if there were a tool out there that could make that possible?
Holy smokes! Like what? It's right here. Like folks, this is like the stuff is right here. You can actually do these things. Like we've done these things. It's not, it is possible, right? It is possible. So yeah, that was a good point. I like the way you put that. So.
Well, that's all 7 of them. We said we were going to go through 7. We did 7.
That's it. Yeah, we did. Seven ways to, I guess we'll just say fast track or to speed up getting paid in your real estate business. Yeah. And you don't have to wait 7 months for your flip to be finished. Yeah.
Or even, well, if we're talking about wholesaling, like people look at that and they think, well, it's quick money, it's fast money. It's not fast money. First of all, you're still talking about there's a huge learning curve, and then of course in that business, I think the last title company I talked to about this told me that roughly about 40%, almost 40% of all wholesale deals fall through, which is
that's not surprising.
It's an insane amount. Yep. So, but yeah, I think we hit the gamut
for sure. And if you want more information or whatever, like go to I'll just put the partner QR code up here to this, but it takes you right to our website. Just go to the website. There's all kinds of things out there for you that, like, if you want to just chat with us, you can go on the website and you can make a call. We talk about what is your business. Maybe we can help you, maybe we can't, but we'll be glad to certainly chat with you for 15 minutes.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it, man.
Yeah.
All right. You guys.
Another solid episode that just walks right into the afternoon and the Friday fun day afternoon and all of that. So it's good stuff. The sun's shining. It's all good, brother. It's all good.
By the way, the lawn care business I built a few years ago and sold, he's across the street mowing somebody's lawn right now, and it's
There you go.
not cool. It's not very cool outside.
Yeah.
By the way, I sold that on. See, and here again, we can have another thing. Maybe you've got. I'm gonna throw this a bonus in real quick.
Bonus.
Let's say you've got another business that you're already running. You want to get into real estate. So what I did was I built this lawn care business. I sold that business on seller financing. I'm still being paid to this day, and I sold that building. I sold that business almost 3 years ago now.
Yep.
So yeah, there's all kinds of enterprising ways of supplementing your income.
Oh, that's right. And sometimes you don't know until you ask. Well,
Right.
like
Yep.
we're right here. You can ask us anything you want. So,
Yep. All right, man. I'm going to call it.
all right.
Appreciate you guys joining us.
Have a great weekend.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Oh, actually, no podcast next week, July 4th. Have a great holiday.
That's right. Happy 4th, everyone.
Great
Happy
holiday.
early 4th.
Yep.
All right, guys.